Sergio from the Soybean and Minnesota Soybean Research and Promotion Council is going to share more about Chile with us and the agriculture in Chile. So you can go ahead and continue using the chat or write your questions down till the end and Sergio may have questions for you during it, but we hope that you will participate. So with that, I'm going to turn that over to Sergio.
Thank you, Annie. And don't worry, we're gonna learn a lot of things about Chile today. So thank you for the nice introduction. My name is Sergio Cabello Leiva. One thing that you notice, I'm originally from Chile, and in Chile we have two last names. The first one is from my dad, Cabello, and the second one from my mom, Leiva. So we always keep our two last names all our life. We never change it. It's a little bit different there. I'm the director of research in Minnesota Soybean and Research and Promotion Council here in the US. You know, I'm living here in the US for around 8 or 9 years. I cannot see the chat and I cannot see many of you because I'm sharing my screen. So if you have any question, please, Brian, Caitlin, or Anya, just let me know because I cannot see much.
Sure, we'll watch it for you.
Yeah, thank you. So some small things that were in our presentation. Practice listening. It's a very good thing. Like what I learned about all these years since I arrived to the US, when I learned a second language, I really enjoy listening people, people from different countries with different accents, and it helped me to learn and understand like a lot about their culture, where they're coming from, and it's a lot of beautiful things about when you hear a foreign accent like you are hearing right now. For me, I don't feel I have an accent, but probably you notice that I'm not from here. uh, Raise your hands, please help me with that. Minimize distractions. I know it's difficult to keep concentrated for a long time. I tried my best. I'm presenting today, so I'm not gonna be distracted, but I understand that too. Well, what you were talking already, what you learned this week, and we will learn now. So we're gonna start this journey to Chile. So one thing about me, you know, as I told you, I'm from Minnesota Soybean Research and Promotion Council, and you see here my logo here. And there is a photo. I live here in Shakopee, in the Minneapolis metro area, and there is my wife Becky here. We took this photo last week. We really enjoy our beautiful fall. There is my family in Chile: my mom, my dad, my niece, my nephew, my sister, and Becky again. And those are our two kitties, Fuzzy and Minnie, and they're also Chilean. So they flew from Chile to here to the US. So yep, they speak Spanish too. So there's three Chileans at home. My wife is from England. So we won in that in in that aspect here. And one thing that I'm gonna show it to you, they are eating their oats from Minnesota. They enjoy oats, barley, you know, and their eating is very healthy. And it's a reminder for all of you, like we all of us should eat our veggies and support agriculture. So we're gonna move to the next slide, you know. So we're gonna dive now into the southern country in the world. If you see here the world map, that long country is called Chile. In Chile, we don't call to the pepper Chile, we call it ají. So it's nothing related with that. Chile is an indigenous word, which it means cold, because Chile is the coldest country in the south. And you'll realize why. So we are here in the tip of South America. In Chile, we are around 20 million people, which if you think is a significant amount, but Chile is a big country. Okay, Chile is bigger, like I think it's like three times in the United Kingdom. It's bigger than Texas. Okay, so it's not a small country. So when you put that in perspective, it's not many people living there. It's 2,672 miles long from north to south. So it's the longest country in the world. You're not gonna find another country longer than Chile. And the funny shape has a reason. It's because of the Andes. The Andes divide Chile from Argentina, Peru, and Bolivia. That is why it's so narrow. The Andes is our wall between South America and my home country. So our official language is Spanish, although there is a lot of native language that has been spoken in my country, as many of the Americas in general. Fun facts in Chile, we always laugh about it that we have all the weathers that you can imagine. The only weather that we don't have is real tropical weather. We have subtropical weather, but not real tropical weather. So we have deserts that you see there in the photos, highlands, we have forests, we have cropland, we have ice in the southern part. We have the ice fields, which are kind of the biggest ice masses in the southern hemisphere. And we have big cities too, like Santiago. One important thing, crop pasture land in Chile is 4,400,000 acres, which sounds like a big number. Do you know how many millions of acres of soybean do we have in Minnesota? Probably not, but I'm gonna give you a tip. 7 million. So Minnesota has more crop land than the whole Chilean country. And there is a reason. 80% of Chile, it's mountains. So it's not land that we can live or we can cultivate. It's 80%. And then you add desert in the north. The southern part is like Alaska. So our cropland is less than the soybeans that you have in Minnesota. So I'm gonna do like a quick run across Chile. So if you see some advertisements, it's because of YouTube. So we're gonna run from north to south, and I'm gonna be talking about what you're gonna see. So please pay attention to the video. Okay? You see, we have to wait a little bit. There's no presentation without technical problems. So, and here we go. So we start in the north, where is desert. That is Arica, which is the border with Peru. There is a lot of native culture there. We have like geoglyphos, which are like ancient. So you have a lot of diversity, but all related to the ocean and mines. The soils are very salty, and as you said, mines. The land also, everything depends of irrigation. And now we are moving to central Chile. We have some agriculture. You see some pisco, which is a hard alcohol that we produce and export in Chile. Then you see like moving on to the biggest cities in Chile. This is Valparaiso, which is the biggest port in Chile. And this is Santiago with the Andes mountain behind. It's a very modern and big city. That's my region, O'Higgins region, always related to the Andes, in our culture. There is orange trees, we have rivers, we have more water than in the north. We are harvesting grapes there. So we are moving now to the south, which is another big city, which is Concepcion, full of our Chilean culture, and we have a lot of volcanoes. The food in the south is really, really interesting. Here is getting more rain. You see the weather is changing. We have a lots of water. Now we are in the south of Chile. Water here is not a problem. Rains summer and winter all year long. A lot of colors, a lot of culture. But then we move to Patagonia, which is similar than Alaska, So then we have few people living here, beautiful landscape. I've been there a couple of times, a lot of snow, a lot of ice, no much agriculture, soils are really poor there. And that's Chile in 2 minutes. But okay, it's gonna be more than that. Just for you, I give you an abstract of Chile in 2 minutes from north to south. So now we're gonna move to the north of Chile. We have here the Atacama Desert, which is the driest desert in the world. There is not a driest place in the world. I know when you think in a desert, you think maybe in the Sahara Desert. Well, the driest place in the world is Chile, in the north. Here, even though if you see here in this photo, there's no crops, no plants, not even bushes around, nothing. We still have some crops because we have some water from the mountains. All the water in Chile is coming from the ice in the mountains, the snow in winter, and then during the rest of the year, it melts down. Soils here are really salty in the north. They're not very developed soils. Soils could be like 2 or 3 inches deep, and then you have like pure rock or sand. But still, we grow olives. As you see here, this is olives from Azapa. This is a olive that is only you're gonna find in Chile, and we eat it there. So we produce it for the Chilean market. This lemon we call limón de pica, which is a very strong and particular lemon, super concentrated. I bet you never try a lemon more acid than this one. It's just amazing. And everything is under irrigation. So without irrigation, nothing of this would be possible. So soils here, salty and very poor soils. But moving on to the culture a bit too, we have the driest place in the world, which is called Valle de la Luna, Valley of the Moon, which we didn't have rain for 400 years. Could you believe a place on Earth without rain with 400 years? So if you look here in the photo, they look some white color. It's because there is full of salt. Nothing can grow there. There is not a single plant here. And it's beautiful. I've been there in the north. The colors are just magnificent, you know. But the culture in the north of Chile with the native culture, it's all colorful and is really connected with the earth, with Mother Earth and the soil. This is a religious festivity. If you pay attention, they are praying for having a good harvest and enough water. Could you imagine like your entire cultural life goes around and having a good harvest and pray to get enough water? That's something to think about it when we open our tap in our house and we have warm or cold water, you know, it's something that we should appreciate. You know, it's something that people here is praying, and it's a beautiful festivity. I've been there. Get the music. So again, this is all connected to farming. Okay, we're gonna move, gonna keep our travel. And now we're in central Chile, where I'm coming from, and most of the Chileans are from the central Chile. Maybe 15 millions of the Chileans are from central Chile. So when you meet a Chilean, most likely you're gonna be from central Chile, whereas where the agriculture it's present. We have Mediterranean weather. Where you can find Mediterranean weather in the U.S.? California. So we have the same weather than California. It's a very unique weather where you have, in my case, in central Chile, 4 months of rain, which in reality, it rains like 10 or 12 times per year. The rest of the year is sunny, no rain, no cloudy days. So you have like probably 10 months with sunny days and you never worry about it's going to be cloudy or it's going to be cold. No, it's always going to be sunny and dry. So we have grapes. As you see here, these are vineyards. This is next to my house. Actually, this is a photo that I took personally, and I love it. You see the mountains here. These are not the Andes. These mountains are coming down from the Andes, but they cross the valleys. We have cherries. We also have wheat. You know, we have some corn. We have blueberries. Most of our fruit as for exportation. So if you see, agriculture here is very tied to export. I'm gonna move a little bit. This is from my job when I was working in Chile in seed production. You know, we produce a lot of seed, and there you have like some cauliflowers, carrots. Have you ever seen a nursery of carrots? Well, that's the way that it look. Pomegranates. These ones are from my home. Actually, in my house, you know, in my little backyard, I have pomegranates, olives, apples, oranges, apricots, plums, you name it. We are very lucky and blessed in that way. And also we have soybeans here. And do you know why we have soybeans here? To produce seed. When we are here entering to winter in Chile, because they are in the southern hemisphere, they are in summer. So there is an opportunity and like a mutual dependence, so a win-win situation. When we have the seeds to produce for the northern hemisphere, we send it. When you don't have fruit, if you go to the supermarket, you're gonna find blueberries, grapes from Chile. because we are producing in summer. So that's an agricultural opportunity here. Here in central Chile, soils are really fertile. We have the most fertile soils. It's not much of them, but really fertile. So these are very similar to what you can find here in Minnesota. Okay, deep soils, very good structure, healthy, and very productive. Have you ever seen how you harvest carrot seeds? Well, I'm gonna show you. That's a little combine for you. For us, it's a big combine harvesting carrot seeds. So these are the way that carrots are harvested and then send it back to the US for the carrots that you eat at home. So we don't send you the carrot, we send you the seed. It's a very interesting process. Sometimes, if you see here in the corner, we harvest in these like stationary treasures. They're also very popular. They work with a tractor, and they're really, really small. Other thing that you can see here in the corner in the left, that video is also from me. That you guess what seed is that? Cauliflower seed. Also, that is sent to the US. For cauliflower production. So we produce the seed in your winter. So when the spring come here, we send you the seed. Win-win situation. So moving on, um, how we harvest grapes. Have you ever seen a grape field? Well, this is red glove. You've seen it in the supermarket. It's the biggest grape that you can find in the supermarket. So these people, they are harvesting, they're all hand-picked. It's a lot of work. Farmers works a lot. And if you see there, those soils are extremely fertile. Nothing grows underneath because it's all covered. You see by the foliage, so it's basically no weeds problem there. But the disease is the problem here. And you see, this is botrytis. This is a super common disease in all veggie on and horticultural production. It's all around the world. They need to spray it probably twice or three times per month. And like cultural practices, not having weeds in order to not have like host for the disease. And it's a very hard work. But then you get these tasty grapes in your store. But what I'm gonna show you here, there is a lot of work behind. A lot of people. That grape, the farmer planted those vines, then they harvest, they package it, they send it in a ship, then in a truck, and then in your store. So it's a lot of people working here. And again, we send you the grapes when we don't have it here in the US. Moving to the next slide, wine, is very important in central Chile, and I show you the wine grapes next to my house. So this is the way that we harvested. Back in the time, it was all hand picking, but there is no many people in central Chile to be doing this job, and now we have technology. So we have these kind of little small combines, and they just grab the plants and shake them, as you see there, and all the racemes are going into the machine for harvesting. This is the Central Valley where I live. These photos in the site, I took it from a mountain, and you can see all the vineyards and grape crops here, and you see there how it's going inside there. And with that grape, then we make wine, which you cannot drink until you are 21st and older, but your parents can. When I move to another slide, I'm from Colchagua, and probably I would like to show you a little bit why wine is important for us. It's part of our culture. It came from like 500 years ago when the Spanish people arrived. Chile has the Carmener variety in our central valley, So every time you see a Carmener suffer of a disease which is called phylloxera, which basically killed most of the Carmener in the world, and it was extinguished, but then it was rediscovered in Chile. So that is why wine is in all our culture. So I'm gonna share you a little video here, and I'm gonna put it audio about where I live.
I love living in Valpo. I had a great job there. I was renovating old houses and mansions. and I missed the countryside. So I came down to Colchagua because I had one friend in Santa Cruz, and they said, "Come on down, it's great here."
Okay, I hope you like that one. That's where that city they were showing there is where I study. Okay, like my 12 years of like primary school, high school. So yeah, it's right next to my hometown. Sorry, I don't know why this one. Oops. Okay. So one thing that I'm gonna talk to you a little bit, it's central Chile, Santiago. You know, Santiago is our main city. One day when you go there, you can explore our capital city. It's a beautiful place, full of like colors. You know, people from all over the world, and you have the national library, the first university. This is Valparaiso. This is our government palace there you are seeing in the video. So it's a very colorful city, and the main thing that I like it and I want to highlight it to you, it's the let me move a little bit. It's the Andes. So why is important the Andes for agriculture, and for all soil formation? The Andes is full of volcanoes. So a lot of the volcanoes over time, they get eruptions and they throw ashes, and most of our soils are derivative from ashes. And now all the water, if you see the top of the mountains here, are white. So we have glaciers in the top of the mountain, we have snow. So all our water is coming from the mountains for the dry period. So for agriculture, the Andes for us is equal to life. Without the Andes, we couldn't have this amazing agriculture. So that is why I'm gonna point it to you. So it's all connected. It's not just we are really good in agriculture. No, it's all like nature in the way that it's being designed, that it kind of provides all these little pieces and work together for us to have a good agriculture. One thing that I cannot stop about like Central Chile is about our national dance, which is called La Cueca. This is coming from, it's a mix between native traditions and Spanish traditions. So I'm gonna forward here. I'm gonna share you like 20, 30 seconds of the dance. All when we're in school, we learned this. So I'm a horrible dancer, but I did it. So I really enjoy it. So it's harder than it looks, I'm telling you. One thing that I didn't know, if you know about Chile, that Easter Island, Rapa Nui, the official name, is from Chile. So every time, like when you see, like for example, Chile is in Oceania too. So they have very different weather, and I'm gonna point out the agriculture here, and these are banana trees. They're having like a bacterial wilt. So they have some research plot here to teach the locals to fight this bacterial disease. And then you can have some like sweet potatoes, special varieties of tomatoes, and pineapples. This is the only place in Chile that you can grow pineapples. So I think it's amazing. And this culture, they have their own language. The island is called Rapa Nui. They have their own dance. They're super, super strong in culture. And it's Chile too. So I want to share it with you. All their soils, again, are volcanic because Rapa Nui and all these islands in Polynesia are volcanoes, all volcanoes. So if you see the movie Moana, you're gonna relate what this culture is. And I put it here in the corner, and it represents very well what the Polynesian culture is. So south of Chile, here we have the area with a lot of rain. cool rain climate. All the soils here are ashy soils, we call, all originated from volcanoes. Okay, Chile is the country with more volcanoes in the world. A lot of them active. Believe me, my wife and I, we do hikes to volcanoes and we really enjoy it. When they're like throwing fumes and stuff, it's just amazing. And it's safe, by the way. We don't go to the super active. No, we go like with the safe volcanoes. So cheese production here is very important and potatoes. You know that potatoes are originally from South America? Every time that we hear about potatoes, we relate them with Peru. But in reality, the varieties that Europe and the US start growing were from Chile. Why? Because day length allows to the formation of the tuber, the potato. So the varieties from Peru never work in Europe or northern US because the day length it was not the same. But the varieties from south of Chile, they did. So most of the potatoes in Europe and northern US are descended from the Chilean potatoes. Okay, and you can find all the colors. It's just amazing. I want to share you how we harvest them. So if you see here, it's a very, because our farms are really small, so a farm it could be 20 acres and it's going to be a big farm. And all our crops are high value crops. So then you pass a tractor or a horse with a plow, you lift the tubers and you see there the people here, they are filling the bags by hand. So it's a lot of work. A lot of work. The problem with potatoes, they grow from a tuber, so they could have a lot of disease. Okay, you can see the soils here, how ashy they are. It's basically volcanic ash. But now this soil has 1,000 years old. They're really young, but they're really fertile, and they can drain very easily. So there's no like water logging and stuff. But even that, potatoes could suffer certain fungal disease. Here you have a bacterial wilt in these potatoes. So rotation, cultural practices are the same. So the same that we can picture here in the US in corn, soybean, or wheat, when you say like, oh, rotation, protect the soil, let's keep soil-borne pathogens away, we suffer the same in Chile, and we have to do the same cultural practice. So that is why, being an agronomist from Chile, I could come here and learn the new crops, new cropping system, new scale, new diseases and stuff. But the principle of agriculture is the same in the whole world. That is why I love to work in agriculture, because I can go to Europe and talk about agriculture. I can go to Australia and talk about agriculture. I can go to India and talk about agriculture. The US, I can go to Central America and Panama, and I can be talking about agriculture and learning from them, learning their disease, their soil. So it's something for you to keep in mind and enjoy. Another thing about soils, like again, volcanoes, ashy soils, volcanic soils. This landscape is Conguillío National Park. It's the same landscape, or the most similar landscape that we had in the Jurassic time. So BBC record a documentary here because you have the monkey puzzle trees here. These are lava flows. These pictures are taken by me. So when you walk here, you can feel that you are walking in the soil where dinosaurs used to live. So it's just amazing. Other thing that it's important, in Chile and in South America, we love markets. So the experience to go to a market is something that I want to share to you. Pay attention to this. So why I share with you that, if you see here, this is a very important place where people trade their crops, And for us Chileans, we like to eat very fresh food. We have stores like here in the US, but we really like to go to market. So like, for example, my family, or when I'm living there, I used to go to the market weekly or twice a week to get my potatoes, my veggies, so it's part of our economy. So the farmers produce their products and they go to the market and they sell it right there. Every single city have one or more markets. And this happened across all the country. Now we are in Patagonia, where it's really cold. Think in Alaska. No much cropland. The only thing that we have here, it's basically
That
eh, some livestock, some sheep, and small farms. It's a beautiful landscape, a lot of wildlife, a lot of forest. Northern part of this area rains a lot. The southern part here, almost no rain. It's just amazing. I want to share you this. This hand here has more than 10,000 years. So even 10,000 years ago, people used to live here hunting guanacos and living there. This photo is also by me. I took this in the tip of the Patagonia, and it's just fascinating for me. Like today, it's super harsh to live there. It's cold. There is no much crops, so the weather it's very harsh all year long. They don't have summers like we have. That's the difference in Chile, in Patagonia, it's not cold as here, but the summer never warm like here. But if you think like 10,000 years ago, humans were were living there, hunting, having some little crops. So it's just fascinating. And this is the life there. And I find it really, really cool. Soils here are almost non-existent. So that is why we cannot do crops. If you see here, these soils probably are 1 inch deep. So we cannot till, we cannot plant crops. So it's only some livestock, some sheep can survive, and that's it. But that doesn't stop the beauty. Most of these photos are taken by me, like you drive in the Carretera Austral and you can see the glaciers right next to lakes, marble caves, Let me see if I can play this one. Look at, can you see? These glaciers thousands of years and you can visit them. One cool thing, the Patagonia, you can see a lot of guanacos, which is basically the wild relative of llamas. Guanacos are all across Chile, Bolivia, Peru, Argentina. They're big and they have like big herds in the south, and also ostrich, Nyandu. Have you ever seen one? So you can see them in the south. They are huge, and also pumas or mountain lions. There is a one thing: pumas can live from Alaska to Patagonia, but in Patagonia, pumas are the double size of the pumas that you can find here. One thing there in Chile, hunting is not allowed, so you cannot hunt any of these animals, and the population is low and they coexist and they keep their numbers between them, between guanacos and natural carnivorous as puma, another one. So it's a beautiful balance. Um, and with that, I would ask you, what's your favorite thing about Chile? You like the desert and the mountains in the north, you like the vibrant cities, you like grapes, vineyards, potatoes, the rich culture of the north, blueberries, or maybe you like my two Chilean kitties, huh? Fuzzy and Minnie send you greetings, and they speak Spanish, so they want to be here, but they didn't learn English yet. So with that, I will happy to try to answer your questions, and I hope you learned something. And yeah, let's go ahead.
Sergio, if you want to unshare your screen, you can probably see everybody too. So
Okay. Let me, like technology is getting too smart for me. I used to be super sharp, but now like since I'm 40. Okay, I can see you now.
Sergio, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So you were showing the cattle where there was only an inch of dirt. How are they like, are they bringing in feed for them, or how, if there's not soil,
Yeah.
how are they getting how are they doing that?
There is they depend of like hay from the southern part, where it has a lot of rain. But one thing, if you remember, I said not many people live there. So
Mhm.
basically, they have huge, huge, huge pasture land. So probably they're like for cow, maybe I'm just gonna say the number, maybe you have 20 acres to
Mm.
support a cow. And if you notice, those cows are not for milk, are just for meat. And they're really small. They're like special breeds. They're adapted to the south and adapted to this kind of food they can find there. Okay, so yeah, and again, it's a very local family business. They are not for export. They don't send the meat for the northern part of Chile. Everything stays there, but the population there is really low. Like for example, that region, one of those like southern regions, is the size of all central Chile. In central Chile lives 15 million people. In that region, one of them in Patagonia, half of Patagonia, to 200,000 people. Same area, 15 million, the other area, 200,000 people. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sergio, there's a
Okay.
question in the chat. How long does it take to drive from one side of Chile to the other?
That's an amazing question and something that I really want to try. I could tell you, my wife and I, we drove to Santiago to the south, and it took us like 2 weeks. And I could say it take you like sleeping and not doing that much tourism, but probably between 3, 4 weeks. That's an amazing drive, by the way.
There's a lot of comments. People like your cats, the names, potatoes came up in the chat, the horses a few times.
Oh, horses. That's a very important thing. I forgot to mention. In Central Chile, horses is part of our culture. If you go to Central Chile, we have horses all over because it came from the Spanish time. We don't use them for work anymore. People like them to ride during the weekends and stuff. So you all gonna see horses and guasos, the guys with the hats and stuff. Yeah, so it's super, super, super common. People love horses. They live in their houses. They don't have much space. They give them hay. They take care of them. You're gonna see them. They look beautiful. It's part of our culture.
It looks like Ivar, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. They've had their hand up, so thank you for being patient. If Ivar wants to unmute and ask their question.
Um, uh, like in like the north, since like they don't get rain a lot, how do they like grow crops? Or like
Hey,
uh
Bart, thank you. Thank you for your question. Yeah, it's very difficult to get water in the north. In the north, not many people live. It's kind of similar than in Patagonia. So the resources can be a little bit bigger. So what they grow is very special crops. In that little portion, you see some olives. Olive trees are very drought resistant. Those special lime varieties are really, really drought resistant too. They also grow quinoa, which is a pseudo cereal and a plant that you can find in the US and it's come from the Andean region. And they have quinoa, they have a little bit of olives, and also in the highlands where the people live, they have llamas and alpacas. You've seen llamas, right? And alpacas. Well, llamas and alpacas is a domesticated guanaco, the photo that I show you. So in the north, in the highlands, they grass around, farmers keep them, and also it's a source of food. They eat their meat, they use their wool for their clothes, and they drink their milk and they make cheese from their milk too. But again, in a very local and substantial life. So it's just for them. It's not a big business. But that's an excellent question. You were paying attention. I'm happy to hear that.
There's another question in the chat. Do you hike all the way up the volcanoes and see the magma?
That's an excellent question. Me personally, I hike a couple of small volcanoes. They're only throwing fumes and stuff. I'm personally afraid of the magma, but in the south of Chile, with professionals, you can go in a hike of 5 or 6 hours, and you can walk to the top of the volcano, and you can see the magma. And I've been next to those volcanoes. Actually, I show you a picture that I took so next to the one. I didn't want to go to see the magma. It's safe if you go with professional people. It's about 5 or 6 hour hike. It's not that much.
We've got a lot of sightseers on this trip. We've got people liking the mountains, the horses, but we also have somebody wondering what it's like to taste papaya.
Papaya, that's great. Well, papaya, you have two kind of papayas. You notice the north of Chile is a desert, right? Actually, it's a subtropical climate, but because of the weather, the anticyclone of the Pacific, it turns dry. Okay, so back in the time, it was tropical. So that is why we have a Chilean papaya. So that papaya is thousand and thousand of years ago, like probably 10,000 years ago, in the last ice age, when the weather was totally different. We have certain forests in the north of Chile, and we have this papaya. So the Chilean papaya is just sweet and amazing, and is one of my favorite fruit. We cannot find it here because if you remember, there's not much water, so we don't export that papaya. It's only for local consumption. I cannot explain you how sweet and soft is, but it's amazing. When you go to Chile, you can try it.
Now we've got some people wondering what breeds of cattle are in Chile.
That's a good questions. Like in the southern part, you saw like Holland, like Dutch breed for milk. So most of them are coming from Europe. In the southern tip, some of them are coming from Scotland, because the weather is very similar. And then if you go down to the south, the ones that Anya was asking in Patagonia, they look like not like a super easy breed to differentiate. The thing is because it's a mix between some new breeds, but breeds that came from the Spanish people 400 years ago. So they're really rustic breeds. They're still around in Chile, and that applies also for crops. You can find varieties that came from with the Spanish people in great 500 years ago, and you can still find it in central Chile. That's an excellent question.
We've got some foodies now, some foodie questions. I'm going to combine three of them together. So, what's the most common food in Chile? Do you grow coffee or do you harvest chocolate?
Excellent questions. All are excellent questions, and I got that a lot of questions about that from Chile. Okay, the main food in Chile, it depends because Chile is so big. You see, in the north, as I told you, is quinoa and a lot of products from the ocean. In central Chile, we ate a lot of fruits, okay, and a lot of meat too. Chilean people in central Chile, we eat a lot of barbecue, beef and pork, and not that much chicken, but a lot of beef and pork as a barbecue. And in the south of Chile, again, some milk, cheese, and a lot of products from the ocean. The some like mussels, fish. I'm from central Chile, so you say, oh, you like to eat a lot of meat. I like meat, but I prefer products from the ocean. And in Chile, wherever you are in Chile, you are always close to the ocean. You are always 1 hour away from the ocean and 1 hour away from the Andes mountain. So that's you see, it's so narrow. So okay, I drive 1 hour to the ocean or 1 hour to the Andes.
We have
Oh,
a
sorry, I didn't
question.
answer the other question.
You got him.
Coffee,
Oh,
coffee and chocolate. Coffee and chocolate. Ivar asked me about the weather in the north and stuff. We don't have tropical weather, so we don't have neither of those crops in Chile. So you cannot find chocolate and you cannot find coffee. You cannot grow them in Chile because our weather doesn't let us. It's impossible.
so we're going to divert from the chat. We've got a live person, Claire. I'm going to have you
Claire,
unmute and you can ask your question. I see your hands up.
What are some of the most common breeds of horses?
common breed of horses. That it's an excellent question, and I'm from Central Chile, and we call it a caballo chileno, which is not a very original like, Chilean horse. which it means it's a mid-sized horse just for riding, and it's very strong, like not long legs like English horse. But that's our kind of Chilean breed. It's unique from Chile, and it's our signature. So you'll not find it another way. We have a lot of Arab horses, because if you think when the Spanish people came to America, a lot of them were from the south of Spain, and the south of Spain was 8 centuries, around 7 or 8 centuries, under control of Arab kingdoms, like from the northern part of Africa. So they brought Arab horses. So we still have a lot of Arab horses. How you know when it's Arab horse is a super easy. That's something that I learned when I was a kid. When you see them start like kind of galloping, their tail tips up, and it's a super distinctive thing. So Claire, look about Arab horses, and we have some English horses, but we call it bretones, which is like means a horse from England. Those like strong horses for like working the land and stuff. They are not that easy to spot because we don't use horses anymore for working, but you can still find it around. Abigail has a question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Claire. Abigail.
She's trying to find her mute button, I think.
Yeah. Oop.
No, we lost her. Well, we're waiting for her to come back. Let's hit. We've got that chat, Sergio, is blowing up. We might have to be here until 9 o'clock. So how is daily life in Chile different from daily life here in Minnesota or the US?
Oh, that's an excellent question, and it's really, really different. In Chile, we are a Latin culture, which means our culture is a mix between native and Spanish culture. So all our life goes around food and sharing with our family and friends. So we spend most of our time, like for example, dinner, weekends with our family and friends. In my case, hiking, but then come back with my family and friends, always making food or chatting about it. And it's all casual. It's no planning. You just show up in your parents' house or just a call from dad, please. We're gonna have dinner today in my house, and we go around. Chile, the distance are short. So, for example, to go to my parents' house is 10 minutes in a car, or I can take a bus, or I can take a taxi. Public transport is really, really important for us, and everything is very close. So, we always are close around like family, friends. So, our social life is very important, and food. And personally, me, hiking in the mountains. I could not live like the thing that I miss the most after my family is hiking in the mountains. Yeah, great question.
Abigail's back. Oh, no,
Abigail.
Okay. Sorry, my audio was not working. Do you prefer the south, central, or northern part? And along with that, do you prefer the mountains or the beach?
Ooh, 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 excellent question. That's very, very difficult. I love the south of Chile. It's something with the rain and the food, and the Andes mountains are easier to hike in the south because they are getting smaller in the south. So they're like beautiful and stuff. But that would be my answer 10 years ago. Now, that I'm older, I would stay in central Chile because the weather, I really appreciate now the Mediterranean weather. When I was living in Chile, imagine if you were in my place, living your whole life in a sunny place. You know what was my favorite day in Chile? A rainy day. A rainy day was my favorite day. With the first time when I came to the US and I hear people said, "Oh, it's a beautiful day today. It's a sunny and so shiny." And for me, it was like, "You really?" But because for me, it was like sunny days was always there. But now looking back, that's my favorite thing. I would not change Central Chile. Yeah. Thank you for that question. It was amazing.
All right, we're at 8:28. Again, what we might have to do, Sergio, is capture the questions from the chat and maybe email those to you and
Oh,
we
yeah,
get
yeah.
responses and then give it back to the participants. One that's popping up a lot or back and forth. Does Chile have daylight savings time?
Uh, you mean that is the hour change or
Yep.
yeah, yeah, we do have that. It does change too. I'm telling you, here in the US, when the time change, it's something normal. In Chile, it's a big deal. People don't like it, and it's in the news. My parents and my friends talk 3 weeks after, like, why we changed this and stuff. And it's a very big deal in Chile, and they're always discussing to delete that. And it's very curious you asked that question, but in Chile, it's a huge, huge deal.
I saw Paisley had her hand up and I lost her
Yeah,
screen. Oh, there she is.
Paisley.
Is she still here? Did you have a question?
Yes. What mountains do you climb?
Oh, excellent questions. I climb mountains in central Chile. For example, in front of my house, Cerro Rucatalca, which has a abandoned gold mine. I love to go there. This year, my wife and I went there, and I got lost. So my wife was not very happy with me. So remember, when you go to the mountains, you gotta be careful. Even me, I know my mountains like my hand. Still, I got lost. I go to the Cerro El Peine, which is a mountain next to a huge volcano in central Chile. Again, I didn't climb the volcano, I just climbed the mountain in front, and it's around like 3,000 meters above sea level. I hike a couple of volcanoes in Patagonia. They are smaller and they're still active. So yeah, the only mountains that I never hike are the ones in the north, which are the biggest one, and you need to be prepared because they could be like 6 kilometers tall and above. So I don't have the training for that. I wish to do it someday, but I need preparation and help. So that's an amazing question. The mountains that I hike always are the ones in my valley, and they are between 1 and 2 kilometers tall. And they're all open. You can always go. No, thank you for that question, Paisley.
Trying to find my mute button. All right. Thank you, everyone, for those fantastic questions. And Sergio, for your time tonight, sharing your love and passion for your home country of Chile. I think we all came away with something new that we've learned. Like Brian said, if you have any further questions, maybe take the time to right now put them in the chat so that Brian, Anya, and I could write them down and send them to Sergio so then he can answer them and we can send them in an email. We were gonna have breakout rooms for you guys to talk with your ag ambassadors, but we know we are, really running close to the being done with our time tonight. So if you have not met with your ag ambassador, we really encourage you to meet up with them, whether it's an email or a Zoom, so that you guys can kind of talk and maybe even carry over tonight's conversation with your ag ambassador. And, while he was talking, I was even doing quick Google searches of the different cows and the horses. So your learning doesn't just stop tonight. You can continue to learn more about Chile by doing Zoom searches. But I don't want to take away from the other countries we still have to explore. So tonight, what opens for the next country of exploration is India, I believe, right? Nope, I'm sorry, it's not India.
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. I knew it was Costa Rica. I'm so sorry. India will be after Costa Rica, but tonight you'll be able to open up Costa Rica and learn about Costa Rica. And then next week we'll have our Costa Rican speaker on. Other than that, again, thank you all for joining us tonight. We appreciated you all tuning in. Anya will be posting the recordings if you want to go back and learn